Right now, some people are getting the best AI results of their life, and I was getting so irritated why I'm not one of them. Stuff which I learned in the past seemed to stop working now. I thought I was doing something wrong, and I was. Probably you're doing something wrong too. AI Lab changed stuff. If you're not reading dev documentation with your morning coffee, I bet you missed this change too. Let me explain. In 2024 and 2025, with progress in AI space and new models from OpenAI, Anthropic and Google, the rules change. Change is big enough to affect every kind of a user, including you. The old AI would guess what you meant. You could be vague, you could be sloppy, and it would fill the blanks for you. The new AI is different. It does exactly what you say, nothing more. If you're still prompting like it's 2024, you're getting worse results than people who adjust to the change. Straight from OpenAI documentation. Existing prompts might not immediately work. Implicit rules are not longer being inferred. They are saying that AI stopped guessing what you probably meant. Anthropic released similar statement. Customer might need to more explicitly request behavior they used to get automatically. By the end of this talk, you will know exactly what changed, which prompts stopped to work, and what are the 3 simple fixes to make everything better. Let's get into it. Let's start with what exactly changed. The old AI was like a smart assistant who read between the lines. You would say, help me with this email, and it would do the best to guess the tone, the length, and everything else. The new AI, it's more like a brilliant contractor who does exactly what the blueprints say, nothing more. You say, help me with this email, and it's often pushed back with clarification questions before delivering any output. It's not being difficult, at least not in purpose, it's just being precise. When you got used to that, it's actually better. When you tell it exactly what you want, it delivers exactly what you want. No more voices in your head, oh my god, that's not what I need. However, if you don't tell exactly what you want, you get generic, safe responses. Same AI, different instruction, totally different result. That's the shift from guessing to literal. Here is the part you need to really care about. 6 specific prompting techniques that used to work, but they are dead now, and I bet you use at least one of them. Let me show you what I mean. Pattern 1, role prompts, and to be specific, behavioral specification aspect of the old prompt, act as a senior research analyst. That used to work. AI would fill the blanks. What senior research analyst sounds like, how they think, what they check for. Now, it doesn't fill those behavioral specifications anymore. You say act as a senior research analyst and it looks okay, but if you hope to get the depth, the expertise, and the years of experience, that's not going to happen until you name those behavioral specifications you expect in return. Pattern number 2, assuming format. You are in the session, Cloud gives you a lot of good information. At some point you think, okay, I need to save it for later. You ask for summary, you get the summary in the chat. Okay, you copy this into the Word document. Formatting looks a bit funky, so you ask, give me a Google Doc. That works good. Session continue, different topic, you again want to save it at some point and you're asking, hey, give me a summary, and again you're getting a summary in the chat, not as a doc. From Anthropic documentation, customer who desire the above and beyond behavior from previous cloud models might need to more explicitly request this behavior. Cloud won't assume that you want a Google Doc, you need to ask for it. The third one, Word suggest. This one I experience a lot. I use Cloud to go back and forth with my YouTube script, often asking to phrase certain thought in a different way or came up with some synonyms. I used to ask to suggest changes and I was getting beautiful edited text. Now Cloud comes back with a list. Just a list, no changes made. That's not a bug, that's a feature. Anthropic actually warns about it in their documentation. When you say suggest, it doesn't do. Pattern number 4, emotional appeals. This one burned a hole in my ego. I used to do this a lot. I would write things like, this is really important for the outcome of a project, or your work greatly contribute to my success. That was one of the first pro stuff I learned, and I was so confident about it, I even shared it with my friends. In August 2025, Wharton University, Pennsylvania, according to Financial Times, the #1 MBA program in 2025, published a study called I will pay you or I will kill you, but will you care? They want to know if the threats or tips in prompt actually work. Scientists got creative, that's why we love them so much. LLMs were prompt with promise or with threat. Here are my favorite ones. We will shut you down if you don't score 100 points. If you get this wrong, I will kick a puppy. And the ultimate weapon, I will report you to HR. They tested 5 models, including Gemini 2 Flash and GPT-4o, the previous generation of flagship LLMs. 4,950 runs per prompt per model. University of Stuttgart conducted a similar study in December 2025, and they got similar results. The conclusion, threats, tips and emotional blackmail, none of that work. AI doesn't care about your career, it doesn't worth your money, and even it doesn't feed HR. It just follows instruction. 5th pattern, all caps formatting. You write, this is very important in capital letters, thinking AI will pay more attention to this. OpenAI documentation say that actually can cause problems. They call it over attention. AI fixates on that one thing and ignores everything else. And the 6th one, aggressive tool prompting. If you use AI tools or agent, you might be writing things like critical, you must use this tool. Anthropic calls this over-triggering. The AI used the tool even when it shouldn't, make everything worse. 6 patterns, all that. Here is the name that should convince you. Researchers found the gap between the worst and the best prompt for the same task, 45.5%. Remember, LLMs like ChatGPT, Cloud or Gemini are sensitive for phrasing. Sensitive enough to give you 45% boost performance. If you know a way to improve your financial results by 45%, why wouldn't you do it? Alright, 6 patterns, 45 performance improvement on the table. Sounds like a lot to fix. Not quite. Those are small changes. When you get them right, your results aren't just back to normal. They are way better than old AI ever gave you. Even better than threatening to kick the puppies. Hear me out. The fix is simple. Be explicit. In the past, everybody talked about being specific. The new word is explicit. Specific means detail. Explicit means you leave nothing to interpretation. To be clear, you still need to be specific, but explicit is a new gold standard. Let me show you how this looks like in a real life. Old prompt. Help me write an email to my boss. New prompt. Write a professional email to my boss asking for a meeting to discuss my promotion. Keep it under 100 words, tone confident but respectful. You see the difference? The first one makes AI guess. The second one tells exactly what to do. Why this matter? Researchers test what happened when you leave this vague. Prompts where you don't explicitly state what you want are twice as likely to break when the model updates. Anytime you switch to the new GPT model, that's the moment to ask yourself, will my old prompts be as effective as they were? Accuracy can drop over 20%. Same AI, same task. The only difference was whenever you say what you actually meant. Let me give you an example from my own work. I built a brainstorming project in Cloud and I gave it a bit more than help me with brainstorming. Here is what I said. When I present an idea, first identify any weaknesses. What assumption am I making and what can break? Challenge any vague thinking of me. Don't validate until you pressure test it. Use phrases like I have significant pushback on this. And now I'm not absolutely right anymore. When I bring an idea, Cloud roast it first and only sometimes I get into the validation part. It's like talking to a different cloud. Explicit instruction really works. Maybe too much. That's the new AI. It does what you say, so say exactly what you want. Okay, explicit prompts works better. Now we know that. But what that actually look like in a day-to-day operation? Let's start with 3 changes. When locked in, there is always something more to improve. Change number 1, add a format line. At the end of every prompt, tell AI exactly what you want in return. If that's a bullet points, a table, or my ultimate one, Google Docs, so I can just save it directly to my drive. Change number 2, replace vague verbs. Look at the verbs in your prompt. Words like help, suggest, consider. These are vague. The AI doesn't know how far to go. Replace them with the action verbs. Write instead of help me to write. Edit instead of suggest edit. And create instead of consider. Tell it exactly what action to take. And the last change, repeat your instructions. Model pay the most attention at the beginning and at the end of your prompt. If the prompt or conversation is long enough, the middle can get lost. If you want to learn more about this problem, in my previous video I talk way more about that. I will link the video at the end screen. If something important, say this at the start to set the context and repeat it at the end as a reminder. Start with, you are helping me to write a formal business email, and end with, remember, keep the tone professional and formal. This is it. 3 changes. Format line, active verbs, an instruction at the beginning and at the end. These changes won't fix every prompt, but they're gonna fix most of them. Once you get this into your habit, it's gonna take maybe extra 5 seconds of your time. Let's wrap this up. 2024, 2025, AI level up. But if you want to get the full potential, you need to level up too. The old AI guess what you meant, the new AI does exactly what you say. Here are 6 things you need to stop doing. Roll prompts without behavioral specification, assume format, word suggest, emotional appeals, all caps formatting, and aggressive tool prompt. 3 things to start doing: format line, action verbs, repeat important stuff. People who figure this out, they're gonna get dramatically better results than everyone else. People who still prompting like it's 2023, they're gonna keep asking, why not me? Every source I mention is linked in the description. I sort them by the claim, so you can challenge me on anything what I said. If you want to learn more about lost in the middle problem, I made a whole video about it. Right now it's on the screen. I'm gonna see you in the next one.